So today I'm going to answer the question, is a private listing network something that would work for you as a buyer or as a seller? So let's talk a little bit. This is a newer phrase in the industry, I think, the private listing network. But it's an idea that we're all familiar with. Let's first talk about a pocket listing. A pocket listing or an off-market listing is one that an agent has. It's a house that an agent knows about that the seller has agreed to sell. They just don't want it on the MLS, the multiple listing service. And there's reasons why that can happen, and we'll talk about those in a minute. So there's not a listing agreement between the agent and the seller, because if there were a listing agreement, then it would have to be put on the MLS or the multiple listing service. So agents will often hold listings in their pocket, off market, and they can present them to their office as office exclusive listings. It's, like I said, it's been going on for a long time. It's a great way to find properties that you would not otherwise know about. So what is the reason that a seller would want to keep a property off market? A lot of times it could be a high profile seller or a high luxury seller, somebody that privacy is very, very important to them. So they're not going to want to have their information on the MLS. And so they're going to let the agent know, hey, if you find a buyer, I'm here. I've got this property, but I don't want it to be on the MLS. So that's the main reason. Other reasons that sellers may want to keep a market off property is to test the price or to just sort of get a feel for how the property is being received. And this way, by leaving it off market, it doesn't accumulate days on market on the MLS. So after a certain number of days, that can be a problem for a seller. So this is a way for it to have exposure without having the risk of it accumulating those days on market. So what's happened recently, well, let me go back again. It used to be if you wanted to find an off-market listing, you'd send out a company-wide email or you'd call agents you know, either in your brokerage or out of your brokerage. Or if you have an off-market listing, you would email your agents and let them know that you have this property available if someone's interested. And, between emails, that's even better than having to call or go by and visit when we're getting into days before technology. But now what has happened is several brokerages have started their private listing networks. And what this is they get together with the agents in their office that have off-market properties, and they put them together either on a website, on a page, so that other agents in that brokerage can see what is available off the MLS. That is what a private listing network generally is. It's usually within a brokerage. It doesn't have to be. It could be agents getting together with a like-minded seller. For example, here we have a lot of homes where people love cars. So you have a lot of large garage, multiple garage homes. So you could get together with all the agents in Scottsdale from different brokerages that have off-market garage homes, and you could put a network group together where you could share those listings. So that's kind of that. So how does that fit? Is this something as a seller you want to do? I have some interesting statistics here that I just need a second to pull up for you because I couldn't remember all of these numbers. So interestingly enough, as far as private listing networks and multiple listing services, only 23% of Americans 18 to 34 years old even know what the multiple listing service is. When you get up to people over 65, you've got 49% of the people that know who it is. Only 22% of the younger crowd know what a private listing network is, and only 14% of the older crowd does. So it's a new thing. Not a lot of people know really what it is. 2/3 of Americans have never had an agent explain to them what a private listing network is. And guess what? You're no longer one of those Americans because you just had it explained to you. But 63% of those Americans said an agent recommended a private listing network. Not sure how to process that, but we'll think about that. 43% of sellers who started off on a private listing network ended up selling on the multiple listing service. So outside of truly privacy reasons, the MLS still seems like a really good direction to take your sellers, or if you're a seller, the MLS is still going to be a good way to go about selling your home because it's going to put you in front of all of the prospective buyers. If your home is not on the multiple listing service, then there are buyers out there. If they're not working with an agent that knows about your home, they're not going to know your home is for sale, and you're not going to have that interest from that buyer. There was an interesting study done by Bright MLS that said homes that are listed on the MLS bring 17.5% more than homes not listed on the MLS. So there's actually a financial reason to list your home on the MLS. And the other factor is that there's some concerns around fair housing or discrimination because you're able to choose what home would be included or not included in your network. I haven't seen anything specific on that. That's just kind of some of the concerns that are being voiced about it. So here's the interesting part. Americans were surveyed, and the top reason that they chose an agent was for exposure of their home, being able to get their home in front of the largest amount of prospective buyers. 52% of Americans said that's the reason they chose an agent. They didn't choose an agent because they played pickleball with them. They didn't choose an agent because it was their second cousin's mother-in-law's sorority sister. They chose an agent based on largest exposure of their home to prospective buyers. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. So if you're a seller, the MLS is really going to be a good option for your home. If you're a buyer, though, and you're going to pick a buyer's agent, I would just like to put out the idea that maybe the best agent for you is the agent that comes from the largest footprint in your specific area where you're looking to buy. Because if you go with a larger brokerage, you're going to have access to a lot more off-pocket properties than you are in a smaller boutique brokerage. Just something to think about. That being said, if sellers really want the greatest exposure for their home when it's sold, I'm going to give you a shameless plug. I mean, what the heck? So American Dream TV, interestingly enough, just came out with their viewership for December. And it hit an all-time high of 32 million views over the month of December. That means if your home is listed with an American Dream TV host who is also a realtor, your home, if chosen to be on the show, is going to be potentially in front of 32 million people watching that show. I don't know about you, but that's a lot of eyes on a home that you want to have sold. So if you want some more information about how I can help you in Scottsdale or how my network of agents who host American Dream TV can help you across the country, please reach out. That's all I've got for you today. This is just a really casual Monday market moment that I wanted to share with you. Trying out my new gimbal in horizontal mode, going longer than a short or a reel, and just testing it out. I'd love to know what you think about the information, if this is the kind of content that interests you. And I'd like to know how you like a casual vlog, podcast, video, or whatever it is I'm doing. My name is Leah Hinnefeld. This is Saddle Up Scottsdale. Tighten your girth, because we've got more to explore on my next episode. This is Leah Hinnefeld, signing off.